Are you having any trouble at all keeping up with your own desires? Yes. Do you find them springing out of you at an unprecedented rate? Yes. It's a tribute to the contrast of your time and space, you know that. In other words, the more variety, the more exposure, the more you interact, the more opportunity you have to conclude your preferences about your perspective. You like that about your experience? You like giving birth to new desires? Do you feel capable of choosing for yourself? Do you feel worthy of getting to choose? In other words, do you think that it is right that you would choose? That your environment would produce for you opinions and preferences? And do you think that you are valued enough or worthy enough or stable enough that it's right that you would get to choose? Or do you think that somebody else has already chosen it all from non-physical or other wiser physical beings, and now it's your job to just figure out what they think you should do and do your best to do that? Or do you like the idea of getting to choose? We want you to identify your right to choose. We want you to begin to understand that not only is it something that is all right, but it is something that you were born intending to do. You did not say, I'll come forth into this body, but get it all cleaned up so that everything will be just the way everybody wants it to be. And then when it's all compatible, I'll come forth and just agree with everyone else. Oh, yes, this is a good place, isn't it? Source got it just right before we came into it. It isn't like that. You came into an environment of variety and difference and contrast so that you, from your unique, oh, such a good word, such an important word, from your unique perspective, could have your unique experience, and you could uniquely put in your 2 cents worth. And it's far more than 2 cents worth. It is the opinion that brings thought beyond that which it has been before. It is the perspective that causes the expansion of the universe. It's good that you want, and it's good that you uniquely want. And it is so good, in fact, that a promise was made to you, you understood it completely, that when you came forth and when your environment evoked desire or preference from you, that in the moment that that preference occurred to you, even before you put words to it, even if you never put words to it, that source would answer that desire. That's the way that it is. In fact, it is so much that way that when you're standing in the middle of something not wanted, and out of it is born a preference, it would really be nicer if it would be this way. When someone is rude, you want them to be nicer. When someone is rude to someone else, you want them to be nicer to someone else. When you see some sort of injustice, you seek justice. When you see anything, not enough money, you want more money. Not enough physical enthusiasm, you want more. Not enough physical stamina or flexibility or endurance, you want more. Every exposure to every experience causes you to specify your preference. And when you do that, it shoots out of you as a vibrational request or preference. And in that moment, source sees it and adheres to it, becomes in vibrational sync with this new desire that you have given birth to. Whether you are a human genius or the one-celled amoeba in the ocean, whether you are a cat or a dog or a frog or a bird, when you have an experience, and you do, and you prefer something, and you do, the preference emanates vibrationally, and source goes with it. Because every preference that emanates from any of you is a preference that would be better for self. Can you feel the genius of this? If all of these selves are emitting personal preferences, what's best for me right now, and source agrees and confirms and empowers and goes with, can you feel how the evolution of all species occurs? Can you feel how the upliftment of all that is occurs? In other words, isn't that a wonderful thing? Everyone can be standing in a place where they make a request and Source agrees with every request and makes a way for it to happen. Isn't it a wonderful environment in which to create? So you must be thinking, well, what's going wrong? I know I want stuff that hasn't come. If I'm asking and I am and Source is answering and you say that Source is, then where's my stuff? Where's my physical improvement? Why is my government still behaving in this ridiculous way? Why are people still suffering around the world? If people are asking and Source is answering, then why isn't the world all just the way we want it to be? And we say, well, there are a couple of issues there. You don't agree on the way you want the world to be. And so most of the time, you are not a vibrational match to the way you think the world should be. Most of you are pushing much harder against how somebody else thinks the world should be than you are becoming a vibrational match to the way you think the world should be. So you're not a vibrational match to your own desire, so the evidence of the world becoming the way you think it should be is not showing itself to you, even though the world may very well be becoming more like the way you think it should be. When you're sick and you ask for wellness, whether you use words or you just radiate a rocket, Source agrees with you and moves circumstances and events. Your cellular body begins moving. All kinds of things begin to take place to move you closer to what you are asking for. But if you are continuing to find evidence that you still are sick, then your vibration is about the sickness, not about the wellness. So you are different from your desire and different from your inner being's perspective of your desire. When you said you wanted wellness, your inner being agreed and saw you well. But if you are still noticing that you are not well, then there is a vibrational variance between the drum you're beating and the vibration you're offering and what you're asking for and the way your inner being sees you. You see how it works? And to get from anywhere to somewhere else, there has to be that awareness of the relationship between where I am and where I want to be. The navigational system in your car or in Jerry and Esther's vehicles has only those two functions that are factored in. Where are you and where do you want to be? The satellites in the sky and the antenna on the roof and the computer brain in the vehicle tells this system where you are. And then you program in your destination and now it calculates the route, the vibrational difference, so to speak, from where you are and where you want to be. And then Magellan, or whatever system you have, begins to give you a verbal and sometimes a visual description. Follow this path. Turn left here. Turn right here. Get onto this route. And when Jerry and Esther diverge from the route that Magellan is suggesting, Magellan says, please proceed to the highlighted route. Please proceed to the highlighted route. In other words, Magellan is pointing out, you're here and you said you want to go there, and we are showing you the best way of doing that, and you're not doing it. Please proceed to the highlighted route. If Jerry and Esther continue to be obstinate and go the way that they are choosing, it happens quite often. Jerry has a map, chooses a different way. Magellan just sort of freaks out. She doesn't give up. When possible, proceed to the highlighted route. When possible, make a legal U-turn, she will say. You have a similar guidance system working on the same principles. It is calculating where you are in relationship to where you want to be. And when you feel negative emotion, it is your guidance system saying, please proceed to the highlighted route. You said you want this, but you're offering a vibration about this. You said you want to be well. And your source and your desire are over here vibrating in the same place. But you're looking at the bump on your forehead, or you're looking at the x-ray the doctor showed you, or you're looking at the medicine bottle, or you're getting on the scale, or you're taking score of where you are. So you're activating within yourself the vibration of where you are, where also active within yourself is the vibration of where you want to be. And as long as there are two active vibrations within you, that of your source and that of you, that are not in vibrational alignment, you're going to feel guidance that is telling you, you might want to choose a different way of thinking of this in order to bring yourself in alignment with what you said you want. As Jerry and Esther are traveling from Phoenix to San Diego, they know what to do. They know that they need to get on the interstate and head west. And they know that it's 400 miles and that if they keep a reasonable speed, they're going to get there. That journey is not hard to understand, and so they don't get lost along the way, and they don't get frustrated and worried along the way either. They don't find themselves in Yuma, where they definitely don't want to be, and get all frustrated. Oh, we're in Yuma. We were supposed to be in San Diego, but we're in Yuma. Oh, what should we do? Maybe the doctor was right. Maybe we're going to be stuck in Yuma forever. Maybe it's right that we have to be in Yuma. After all of our relatives have always been in Yuma. Everybody we know is in Yuma. In other words, it's not like that with that journey, is it? They know how to get from Phoenix to San Diego. And the fact that a good deal of the journey they're not yet where they want to be doesn't make them lose hope. And we want you to understand that 99.9999% of every creation that you are embarking upon is complete before you see any physical evidence of it. You're a long way on your vibrational journey before the manifestation occurs. And if you're taking score in terms of how your body's looking or feeling, or taking score in terms of how much money you've got in your bank account right now, then you are most likely beating the drum in opposition to what you say you want. And your emotions are telling you that. Discouragement means you're beating the drum of something different than you want. Anger means you're beating the drum of something different than you want. Your journeys can be quantifiable because your emotions are telling you how to quantify them. And we want to put it to you in such simple terms, and frankly, it is amazing to us that so many humans don't get it. If it feels good, you're on your path. If it feels bad, you're not. You're not on your path if it feels bad. So when you look in the mirror, or when you evaluate something that has happened to you and you condemn yourself, you say, I'm unworthy, or I'm inappropriate, or I'm incapable, or I'm not smart. The reason that that emotion feels so awful as you beat that drum is because you are in utter disagreement with your source, who finds you remarkable always. Your source understands your genius and your value and loves you unconditionally. Your source does not wait for you to perform certain functions before it loves you. Your source loves you always. And in fact, if that were not true, you could not feel negative emotion when you don't love yourself. Do you get it? That the negative emotion you feel is your indication of vibrational discord? In other words, it means you've gone somewhere with your thought that your source does not go. If you've been practicing self-humiliation, self-appreciation is a very big vibrational distance from where you are, and you're not going to find it instantly. So we think what happens is sometimes you find yourself in despair, and in a self-survival sort of mechanism, you find the relief that revenge or anger brings you. And if we were counseling you and we saw you finding the relief that revenge or hate or anger gives you over the disempowering feelings of fear or disempowerment or depression, we would say, good job. But most people in your life will not congratulate you for finding revenge or anger, even though it was a big vibrational improvement for you. In other words, your Magellan would have said, you're on your route, keep going. Don't stay in revenge or anger. Try to find the breath, fresh air that comes to you in frustration. But you are on the way to feeling better, and you are on the way to alignment with what you want. But since you can't jump from despair to joy, or even anger to joy, you can't make that jump any more than you could set your radio dial on 6:30 a.m. and hear what's being broadcast on 98.6 FM. The frequencies have to match up. Your tuner receiver has to be in the vibrational vicinity of the transmitter, or you're not going to get any signal at all, you see. So when you understand that the vibrational frequencies are managed by law of attraction, and that you've got to be somewhere in the vibrational vicinity, then you can realize how you could move incrementally up the emotional scale. On one end of the scale is something that feels awful. On the other end of the scale is something that feels wonderful. On the wonderful end is your perception of freedom. On the awful feeling end is your perception of bondage or lack of freedom. Disempowerment is down there where fear is. Empowerment is up there where joy is. Can you agree with that? In those good feeling emotions, don't you feel powerful? Don't you feel empowered? Don't you feel good? Don't you feel invincible? And in those awful feelings, don't you feel trapped? Don't you feel stifled? Don't you feel insecure? Don't you feel afraid? Don't you feel powerless? Isn't fear about your feeling that something bad is going to happen or has happened and you don't have the control or the power to make it feel differently?